The show opens in San Francisco in 1987 with a teenage boy named Marcus, who narrates that he's homeless after setting fire to the orphanage where he once lived. In the aftermath, 12 bodies of orphaned children were discovered, and Marcus is to blame for their murders. This makes Marcus one of the city's most wanted, and he's now living in a tent camp under a bridge with other homeless people. He's frequently bullied by another homeless man, Rory, a serial killer who never misses a chance to torment the vulnerable. One night, Marcus finds a discarded marijuana cigarette on the ground and begins to smoke it. But unfortunately, it turns out to be laced with LSD, and he begins to hallucinate. The teenager soon comes across a parade where a cop notices him and begins to pursue him. Just as Marcus thinks the cops will get to him, a bunch of assassin teens arrive to help him. Before he can comprehend what is going on, the assassin kids put a hood over him and kidnap him. Sometime later, Marcus is led to a butcher's shop where he learns that the 4 teens are Saya, Billy, Maria, and Willie. They are also accompanied by their teacher, Master Lin, who offers Marcus a spot at his school. It turns out that Lin runs a school called King's Dominion that trains future generations of assassins. Lin wants to recruit Marcus because of his reputation for killing a bunch of orphanage kids, but the homeless teenager decides to refuse the offer and ends up leaving the establishment. Later that night, Marcus sits on a park bench and recalls the happy times with his late parents. This makes him very emotional, and he decides to end his life. He climbs to the top of a building, remembering how, when he was a boy, a mentally ill woman jumped to her death from the same place. Unfortunately, the woman landed on Marcus's parents and killed them both. The boy is getting ready to jump when Saya unexpectedly appears. She tries to convince him to join the school and even ends up kissing him. Marcus is smitten by her and immediately agrees to go with her. With this, Saya takes Marcus to a diner, which leads to King's Dominion's secret location. She then informs him that the first rule of King's Dominion is that you never talk about the school. They must never reveal its location, or Master Lin will take great pleasure in killing them slowly and creatively. A monk then leads Marcus to see Master Lin, who welcomes the new kid and gives a brief history of the place. His great-great-grandfather came to America hoping for a better life, but all he found was brutal racism and near slavery, so he taught himself to kill and founded the school to train young people to become assassins. The next day, Marcus attends his first day of school wearing a proper uniform. Maria then approaches him and tries to recruit him into her gang, but just then, her possessive boyfriend, Chico, shows up and aggressively shoves her against the wall for talking to another guy. Marcus intervenes and pushes Chico off Maria, prompting the psycho to punch him hard and challenge him to a fight after school. Later, in AP Dark Arts, the students are tasked with an assignment to select someone they believe deserves death and carry out the execution. After careful thought, Marcus sets his sights on Rory, who has been killing people, and eventually no longer bothers to hide the bodies. No one could stop him because the cops don't care about the homeless. Marcus then learns that Saya is the leader of the Yakuza kids, while Chico leads the cartel group and doesn't care about the rule against killing another student. A panicked Marcus goes to Saya for help and confesses that he isn't actually a killer and didn't murder all those orphanage kids. He reveals the children were abused at the orphanage, and while he escaped, he hurt a few guards and nothing more. Saya is stunned by the truth and urges him to run away because Chico is actually going to kill him. Marcus agrees and tries to flee when he comes across Maria with bruised eyes. She reveals that Chico did it, which enrages Marcus, and he goes to confront the abuser. The two men then get into a brutal fight, during which Chico gains the upper hand and nearly kills Marcus. But at the last moment, Master Lin arrives and yells for them to stop, prompting Chico to finally back off. That evening, Marcus is approached by Willie, who needs to kill someone for the assignment. They set out to find Rory and keep an eye on him from afar with a gun. Marcus urges Willie to pull the trigger, but the latter gets too scared and hesitates. Unfortunately, Rory spots them and immediately tries to attack the kids. He's about to finish off Willie when Marcus strikes him in the head with a thick pipe. killing him. The boys finally breathe a sigh of relief and dump the body in a dumpster before setting it on fire. However, the act leaves Marcus deeply shaken. After all, it's the first time he's ever killed someone. When Marcus returns to school, he comes across Maria once again, but this time, her bruises are completely gone. This shocks him, but she reveals that it was just makeup, and she actually tried to trick him into killing Chico for her. This makes Marcus very furious, but Maria calms him down by saying that she didn't pretend to like him and then kisses him. The next day, Marcus is still affected by last night's events and keeps getting flashbacks of Rory, which continues to disturb him. To make matters worse, he is frequently bullied by other students and often referred to as a rat, since he doesn't come from a powerful assassin family. Later, during AP Dark Arts, Willie stands in front of the class and recounts how he killed Rory the night before. He tells the story as if he did everything on his own, completely leaving Marcus out of it. However, Marcus stays silent, even though he knows it's all a lie, as he's still struggling to cope with what happened. It turns out that no one completed the assignment except Willie, which makes Master Lin extremely furious. So he informs them that they'll be given a new assignment, but it won't be as pleasant as the first one. He then kicks everyone out of the classroom except for Willie. Out in the hall, the students begin anxiously wondering what's going to happen when, all of a sudden, Lin bars all the doors and traps them in the hallway. He releases a poisonous gas throughout the building and gives them a riddle that will lead them to the correct antidotes. Following this, several students either panic or desperately try to break through the gates. Marcus quickly grabs a girl's hairpin and uses it to pick the lock. The students begin moving cautiously through the dim corridors until Marcus accidentally steps on a loose floor tile, triggering a group of monks trained in martial arts. A tough fight breaks out, but the students barely manage to defeat them and reach the botanical room. Marcus then deduces that the antidote is the plant marked with a fish symbol, but all the students collapse from the injuries they sustained earlier. Thankfully, Maria gathers enough strength to reach the plant. She chews a leaf herself, then feeds one to each of her classmates. She hesitates a bit when she reaches Chico, but decides to help him in the end. With this, the group finally manages to survive another day. The next day, Marcus is woken early in the morning by Master Lin, who gives him a suit and commands him to get up and come along. He then takes Marcus to Rory's funeral, where his daughter and other friends are seen distraught. It turns out the teacher knows that Willie didn't kill Rory. Instead, it was Marcus. The teenager is then forced to give a speech, and he begins politely, but quickly reveals what kind of monster Rory was. This enrages Rory's daughter, who angrily spits at Marcus before he walks away. Later, Marcus is still disturbed by his actions, but Lin assures him that he's proud of him. He shows Marcus Rory's police file, which reveals that the psycho was wanted for 7 different murders, proving that the world is better off without him. Upon returning to the school, Lin shows Marcus his new permanent room partner, who turns out to be a guy named Shabnam. Lin later meets privately with Saya and thanks her for telling him that it was Marcus who had killed Rory. He asks if she has any other info about him, so Saya admits Marcus didn't kill those orphanage kids, contrary to public belief. This shocks Lin and leaves him questioning who the real culprit is. In another scene, a police officer responds to an emergency call and arrives at a barn where he encounters a man named Chester who is abusing goats. The officer tries to arrest him, but Chester pulls a rope, causing bricks to fall and incapacitate the officer. Chester then reveals his face, which is covered in severe burn scars, and shows the officer a picture of Marcus, saying he needs his help to find an old friend. Days later, in a new class called Fundamentals of Psychopathy, the students are greeted by a creepy teacher in a wheelchair bound by a neck chain. It turns out he's an infamous serial killer known as the Scorpio Slasher, who has killed 41 people, though no bodies were ever found, and there are even rumors of cannibalism. The students are terrified of him, but Marcus boldly calls him out. saying he hates him and that fear-inducing people like him are no better than the bullies roaming the halls of King's Dominion. In response, the teacher calmly leaves, remarking that he has discovered a new source of resentment in the lesson, Marcus. In another scene, we see a student named Yukio, who is a member of the Yakuza gang. He returns to his room to find a mysterious box waiting for him. Yukio opens it and is shocked to find it filled with cash alongside a photo of Saya. In the next scene, we see Lin giving detention to several students for breaking rules around the school, such as using drugs, getting into fights, and causing other disruptions. These students include Marcus, Saya, Chico, and others like Petra, Victor, and Boyd. The students are enraged as they don't believe they've done anything wrong, but they have no choice but to follow orders. Lin confiscates all of their weapons, including Saya's beloved katana, before locking them in the library for 2 days. Elsewhere, we see Yukio, who makes a call to someone, saying they need to make a move on Saya now. In the meantime, the students locked in the library are getting restless and hungry as well, so Petra devises a plan to break into the room containing all of their confiscated belongings along with junk food. With this, Marcus picks the lock to the forbidden room, where they're excited to find loads of junk food and explosives. But Saya is left disappointed as her katana isn't there. She does, however, find a dirt bike, which she begins riding around the room. But the students' fun is cut short when several members of the Yakuza gang arrive to attack them. It turns out they've slaughtered all the monks guarding the place and even have Saya's katana. The kids have no chance against them, as Petra is stabbed in the back, Boyd loses his hand, and Victor is sliced across the abdomen. Fortunately, Saya is able to get all of them out of the room just in time. However, in a shocking act, Chico throws Boyd to the Yakuza assassins, who immediately kill him. This enrages Marcus, and he accuses Chico of being responsible for Boyd's death, sparking an argument between them. Saya steps in and explains that the Yakuza have actually come to take her back to Tokyo and won't hesitate to eliminate anyone in their way. She decides to surrender, but Marcus refuses, insisting that the Yakuza will kill everyone anyway to eliminate any witnesses. While they're discussing what to do, Chico finds a vent to escape through. But when the others try to follow, he locks the gate behind him, trapping them inside. Saya suggests turning herself in to give Marcus a chance to find help, but he refuses to leave her behind. Unfortunately, he doesn't get much of a choice when the assassins sneak up on them. He is struck in the head and collapses to the floor while Saya loses consciousness before she's taken away. Later, when Lin arrives at the diner that leads to the school, he's shocked to find it empty and all the staff dead. He soon comes across the Yakuza members trying to take the unconscious Saya away. Lin doesn't waste any time and attacks them with a sword. Just then, Marcus comes flying out of nowhere with a frying pan and knocks one of them out cold. Saya also regains consciousness, picks up her katana, and uses it to kill one of the Yakuza. The three join forces against the assassins and successfully take them all down. In the aftermath, Saya removes the mask of the man she killed and breaks down upon realizing it was her cousin. The scene then cuts to Marcus's roommate Shabnam's house, where his parents return home after a vacation. They are shocked to find the house in chaos, and Chester is there, holding a man hostage. The parents are horrified, and the psycho demands to know which school their child attends. The next day, Marcus meets up with his close friend Billy, who has just returned home with bruises all over his face. Billy reveals he went home to check on his brother and ran into his dad, who is the reason he's at King's Dominion. It turns out that Billy's dad owes lots of money to the mob and apparently sold his son to them, so Billy is training to be an assassin for them. Recently, Billy found out his dad's debt had grown, and when he confronted him, his dad became violent and beat him badly. Billy worries about his mom and brother, who endure daily abuse from his dad. He then comes up with an idea and asks Marcus if he wants to take a trip to Las Vegas. When Marcus asks why, Billy reveals he wants to kill his dad, something Marcus agrees to without hesitation. A few days later, Saya, Marcus, Maria, Willie, and Billy are seen driving together to Las Vegas. It turns out Marcus and Billy had secretly made a plan to track down Billy's abusive father and put an end to him. During the trip, the group stops at a hippie gathering to score some drugs. Marcus ends up taking 7 doses of LSD, while Maria and Saya try cocaine. When they finally arrive in Las Vegas, everyone except Billy is hypnotized by the bright and colorful displays. Meanwhile, without their knowledge, Chico is also following them, since Maria sneaked out without telling him. Later, the group checks into their hotel room, where Saya helps Marcus to bed. He is still under the influence, and his visions are growing darker. He expresses a desire to call his parents and apologize, but Billy reminds him that both of his parents have passed away. Billy remains tense as he waits for his father to return to the room next door. He tells Marcus that his father must be killed at any cost, as the man is dangerous to the family. While Marcus insists he's ready to help, he blacks out between leaving the hotel room and entering the next room. He walks in to find Billy shouting and trying to strangle his dad. The situation escalates when his father gains the upper hand and tries to kill Billy. Marcus intervenes but is quickly overpowered and beaten. In a desperate moment, he grabs a heavy object and strikes the old man over the head, killing him instantly. Upon seeing this, Billy is relieved but breaks down in tears, asking why his father couldn't simply be a good man. After hiding the body, the two head to the casino floor in search of Saya, but Marcus gets distracted by a slot machine. He then approaches an elevator, where he encounters his old orphanage roommate, Chester. Marcus thinks it's just a hallucination, while Chester taunts him with memories of their past. He claims he could kill Marcus right then and there, but won't because he wants the world to know first that he was the one who killed those orphanage kids. After Chester leaves, Marcus goes to Maria's room, where she lets him in and shows him her fake passport. She reveals her plan to escape from Chico and then unexpectedly begins to seduce him. Marcus gives in to his desires and they start getting intimate. However, their moment is cut short when Chico suddenly bursts in and starts shooting at both of them. While Maria manages to hold him off briefly, Marcus makes a run for it and is soon chased by Chico. Soon after, the two boys end up in a convenience store, where they get into an intense struggle. The store owner tries to intervene, but Chico kills him while Marcus manages to escape. Chico soon finds him hiding in a trash can outside and begins brutally beating him. Marcus is still high on drugs, putting him at a disadvantage as Chico gains the upper hand and nearly kills him. At the last moment, the rest of the group arrives, and Maria pleads with Chico to stop. Billy also tries to calm him down, but Chico brutally stabs him in the gut. Fed up with Chico's constant abuse, Maria uses her sharp hand fan to slice his throat, finally ending his life. Upon seeing this, the group begins to panic, but has no time to hide the body as Billy requires immediate medical attention. They quickly flee the scene, and moments later, Chester arrives and discovers Chico's body, which sparks an idea in his mind. In the next scene, the group gets into their car and drives away from Las Vegas, visibly shaken by the recent events. Marcus leans into Maria's arms, and she reciprocates with a tender kiss. Saya notices them from the front seat, and we see a hint of jealousy on her face. The scene then cuts to a month later, where the school principal, Madame Gao, arrives to investigate Chico's disappearance. She suspects Maria of killing him and begins interrogating her, but Maria pretends to be heartbroken and claims she's innocent. Gao doesn't believe her, but with no evidence against Maria,